So, this is part 5. If you recall yesterday, we went to Boudin Perry and met our operative. And we have decided to move along to the Goblin camp where we have encountered number 2. And so our party right now is at the encounter number 2. What we do is we go into our Tome of Encounter. And we look for 1, 2. So the first thing it tells us to do is to remove the counter and put it back into the box. So there we are. And then it says, by the faint light of the crescent moon, you make your way through a grove of ancient trees. You discover a thin line of twine running across your path and up a tree, where rusty pots and pans hang from branches. The forest around you is laced with tripwires. Any false move will alert the Dragool. So you can see right here, or actually if you look on the actual reading, the question marks gives us an option. So the first option is disarm the trap with dexterity and intelligence. So I have 2 dexterity and 1 intelligence. Or carefully sneak through it with my dexterity and my wisdom. So I'm an outrider. I think what we're going to try to do is use our dexterity and wisdom and see what happens. So we're going to go to 1, 6. So here we are at 1, 6. And basically we are going to do a skill check. And the skill check is stealth. So in the stealth book, what we're going to have to do, or in the skill book, or skill check book, I should say. So in the skill check book, we're going to look for stealth. And there it is there. And we're going to need a black, a white, and a black or white dice. So I can go with either 2 blacks or 2 whites. And if you notice right here, it says a 4. So my dice limit is 4. Now what happens here is now I can, at this point, and let's just see if we can move this into the camera without destroying everything. What we'll do is we'll just move my character board down for the moment so that we can put this on the table here. There we are. And we can still see my character board. So the decisions I have to make, obviously I'm going to want to use either 2 black or 2 white and a black. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take I'd like to keep my dexterity. And this goes over to the fatigue. So I'm going to get a black dice. And you can tell the black right here. So I can go into the bag and I'll pull out a black dice. And we'll pick up the 2 wisdom. Like that. And then what we do is I can randomly go in and pick up a bag. So we'll shake the bag and we'll just randomly pick one out. Oh, another white. That doesn't get any better. Quite frankly, it doesn't really get any better. Okay, so what we're going to do is, right now we're going to fold this up. Put that over here. We're going to move my little dice tray right here. And that way I don't upset the board. And let's roll the dice. So in a skill check though, so the first thing we're going to do is we set up, which we did, build a dice pool, which we did, manipulate and place dice. So we're going to do, we can get up to 2 experience if we can actually do well here. Wow, this, you really don't get much better than this. So what happens at this point is we can manipulate dice. I only have the 1 black dice. So I'm going to look at my cards and I'm going to see what we can do here, because a black 6 is fine, but this has to be a 2. So we're going to have to figure this one out. So we know we have at least a 1 right here. So we have got at least 1 experience at this point. So this is actually really good for us. We have acrobatics. And what acrobatics allows us to do is flip a dice from its facing side to its unfacing side. So we know that in dice, if a 1 is on the one side, then we know a 6 is the other. So we can play our acrobatics. Now our acrobatics will go into our spent pile, which is right here actually. Let me see if I can pull this up. So it's going to go here. Sorry, discard. Spent means I can't get it back till I rest. Discard means I'm just discarding it at this point. So if I was to use the spell, you can see this little icon here. That means it goes into my spent. So this allows us to move the 1 to the 6. Now we have a 3 to deal with. So while we're finishing off our encounter, so we're ready to find out this last dice is a 2. Now there is only one way to get to this 2. And which case is the first thing we're going to do is use my cunning. Actually, the first thing we're going to use is my steel net. Now, I don't know how stealth and steel nets work, but apparently they do. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the steel net and move our white to a 2. Sorry. Yeah, that works. Our white to a 2. And then we're going to use our cunning, which changes any color to a black or blue, to a black, which we have here. So in which case we have won this encounter. At this point in time, we would run through the rest of what is on the sheet here. Now that we've nipped over the resolution, gain the rewards, 2 experience. We're going to return all the dice. We're going to return all the cards from the discarded spot back to our hand. So the spent is still spent till we rest. Flip the rest token over. At this point in time, review the current storybook. Before heading forward to the camp, you take a moment to catch your breath. The crescent moon reflects eerily off the glossy black surface of the water. Rest. This first choice indicate gives you an opportunity to rest. You should rest now so that you can learn how it works. So see the resting section on page 11 of the rule book. So I just want to remind everybody at this point, what I'm trying to do here is to give you an indication of the rules. So this is a rules intense tutorial of how to play this game. So we are going to take time to look at the rules and go through the rules one by one, just because I'd like you to get a sense of how the rules work. So this is a really how-to guide to play this game. This isn't the fact that I haven't read this section before, but I want to make sure that I get it accurate for you. And these have moved off. The viewer, so that I can teach you how to do it. So the first thing we do is we're going to spend an experience. Now I think we're only going to spend 1 experience because at this point in time, we want to get as much back as we want. Then we're going to roll the dice. So I think if we get a 3, 4, 5, or 6, we are going to be in good shape here. We drew a dice already. I'm going to roll a dice. I rolled a 6, which means basically all my experience comes back. We have had great luck so far. We don't have to worry about these cards because we don't have any. We don't have a bonus play ticket, and we take our rest token and we flip it. So we have rested. And that is it. And then we continue our journey. So there is no continued journey from a rest. The rest is a rest. At this point, we will move to the next location. So that is our next option that we can do. So we are going to move to the Goblin camp, which is B. So we've arrived at the Goblin camp. Passing storybooks. If there was another player at this point, we would move the storybook to the next person on the right, I believe. Left, it says here. Keyword checks. So let's go through the things that we need to do here. If there's no XP at this location, go to B1. Well, there is an XP. Otherwise, collect the XP from this location. So we have 3 XP. If you have the keyword null, we do not. Do we have the keyword alarm? We do not. So yes, we have the keyword clear is over here. We wrote that down a little bit earlier on our pad, as you can see. Yep. So there we are. So we are going to continue reading. We'll just move that out of the way for now. I think we're going to need it soon. The light of several small campfires flickers through a chaotic group of boar-hide tents. Short, long-eared silhouettes move busily about, pulling up stakes and securing provision. It seems the goblins are preparing to move, likely in retreat. While they are distracted with work, you sneak around the perimeter, whittling down the numbers one by one and pulling the bodies away into the dog. It is not long, however, before a goblin sentry spies you. She raises her horn to rally her kin. You race forward to silence her. Now we are into combat. So this is going to be a good spot to continue on. We're going to do the combat, and then we're going to end the adventure right here, and we'll be done at this point. So let's set up for combat, and we'll explain how that all works. So the first thing it tells you to do is go out and find number 22, which is a goblin. And a goblin has a white, red, and green. And the goblin is cornered, which is nice. And so cornered is a modifier. We'll just put that over here. And it says, at the start of this skill check or each round of this combat, add a random die to the dice pool. This does not count against the dice limit. So this is not bad. At least we'll get an extra dice out of it. And we have ways of changing dice, so that's not too bad. So the combat is, we are ready to combat. Now combat is very, very similar to the skill check that we just took. Our limit is 3. So, and that comes from over here. So this is our dice limit. So the first thing we're going to do is decide that we need a white, a green, and the red. So we're going to give ourselves a white, green, and red. A white, a green, and a red. And because of the... And we also, and I forgot, is we cover up a round marker. So each round we are going to take a fatigue. 1 fatigue and then 2 more fatigue. And they come out of the fatigue pile right here. So if we're following along here, we've set up, which we did. We're building the dice pool, and that's what we're doing right now. So right now, randomly, we can hope for pretty much anything, because we do have a card that will allow us to manipulate the dice. So we picked out a blue. That's not particularly useful, but that is what we got. So let's hope for the best. Wow, okay. We have a 5. Oh, this has worked very well for us. We have a 6. And we have a 5. So we have covered the goblin very, very nicely. And we have a 5. So all we have to do is see if we have a card that will allow us to move 1 card. I just have to look at Valiant. I don't know if that's strictly a 4 or it allows you to move any dice. So I've been looking through my cards here. The closest one is Steel Net. And if I went over here, I can only manipulate this up or down, so it only takes us to 4. We can't roll the dice. That's specific for if we had a roll that was 4, we could have changed it to red. Or if we had a 3 and it was black or purple, we could have changed it to 4, which then we could have changed it to here. Then we could have done that. So the only thing we can do at this point is go to the next round. So we're going to move the round marker 1. And that means I'm going to get an exhaustion token. So right there on the goblin, I'm going to put a exhaustion token. The problem is, of course, is I have really no way of getting a strength dice at this point unless I randomly pull it out. Or we get some fancy dice. So as it says, and add a random dice to the dice pool. This does not count against the dice. And each round is combat, add a round. So it says to return them all. So we're only going to get an extra dice. We do need a red. So we're going to have to pull 4 dice out by random and hope that we get some interesting red colors. And now we are randomly going to pull out 4 dice and hope for maybe a couple of reds. So there's the first dice, another blue, a white, which is not helpful. There's a purple, and a green. None of which are particularly helpful. See, we are going to roll 4 dice. None of them are the colors that we want. Now we do have a way to manipulate a white dice. If we can get a 4, that probably would be a good one, or a 2. We can flip dice maybe. Wow, I don't know if we're going to do it. Let's hope we get something. So we have a 6, a 4, 2, and a 1. So we have a way to do that. The first we'll use our Valiant. So we're going to take our Valiant and turn a 4 into a 5. And so this is a specific value on the card, and this allows us to turn it into any other dice. So basically we're going to turn that into a red dice, and it's the value 4, because I am Valiant. And then, now this, because it has a symbol, is going to go into the spent file. The next one we're going to use is our steel net. We are going to manipulate this up 1 to a 5, and this means up 1 or down 1 and a red or white dice. We have a red or white dice. We have defeated the Goblin. Wow. Oh, I could just, the adrenaline is just going. So we've defeated the Goblin. Okay, I think I like to think myself as funny. I don't know if I actually am or not. We have defeated the combat. Victory! You have silenced her before the alarm is raised. B5. So we can put our stuff back for now. You grab hold of the Goblin sentry and strike her down before she can sound her horn. With this done, picking off the rest of the camp is easy work. When every last goblin is gone, you set fire to their tents, but something catches your eye in the firefight. Reveal discovery card number 95. So we go over into our 95 pile. Number 3, 90. There's 95. And we will show you number 95, and it is a ancient key. And as you can see, to use it, it is 0 stamina. Put that into our hand. We record the keyword Goblin. Okay, item combinations when choice indicates. Well, we can use an item. We could rest or move to another location. Interesting. I don't know. We don't have anything here to use a key on, which is 95. And we do have our... We can't rest because we can't rest at this point. So we're going to have to do something. And I'm suspecting we're going to have to move on. Okay, well, I suggest that we move on. So at the end of combat, we can also flip our... At this point, I'd say we want to rest. Let's hope we're going to use one of our experience. Oh! Yeah, we had one. I don't want to. So we're going to use one of our experience, and because we had 2 experience from that, because we picked up an experience, and the Goblin should have given us 2 experience. So I think we should have 4 experience, because we would have picked up 1 here, got 1 for the battle or the skill check. and then we used 1, would have taken us to 2. I would have picked up 3. There were 1, then 3, then 4, 5, then 2, 4. Okay, so we got enough. I'm going to take one skilled, and what we're going to do is take a dice, and we're going to roll for resting. It's a bit confusing. I get confused early. So we're going to roll the dice. We rolled a 3. We didn't get all our stamina back, but we got enough back to put 1 in our constitution, 1 there, and 1 in our wisdom. So we have a fatigue there. So we're fatigued slightly out of 16. Okay. So we have rested. We get to flip our token. What do we get to do next? So many manuals. So many things to read. We can use an item. I don't see why I would use an item at this point. We've rested. So we're going to move to another location. So at this point, we are at the Ogre's Wall. And that is it for today's session. So we're going to stop here at the Ogre's Outpost. I suspect because it's the last location, it is the Outpost Wall. We will continue on tomorrow. My name is Harry Jacobs. I am the North of 60 Gamer. Thank you for watching this. So today, just in a... That is... sounds like Raven, actually. So that's it for today. Today we did 2 big rule things, really. We talked about combat, and we talked about skill checks. And of course, we're going to put those into the index. So this will be well indexed. Next, we're going to be looking at the Ogre's Wall, and I suspect that is the last of this adventure. Then we will do the end of the adventure, which means we're going to get to go to the store. We get to spend experience, if we have enough experience to spend. We have some gold, of course. Right now we have 3 experience. And we can buy more cards to play more cards, but at this point in time, my limit is only 4 cards per there. And when I rest, of course, I get my steel net back as well, which I didn't do. So we are ready to go. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I am cross-posting on this on the Role Player Universe. And again, this is part 4. So join me and my dogs tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving. And don't forget to enjoy a nice bottle of Jones turkey and gravy soda. And it is sugar-free. That is all for now. I am going to go off. I've got to go work out and get ready for work. See you all later. Oh, and if you like what you see, please hit the like. If you subscribe, please subscribe and hit the bell. I don't have patrons. I don't ask for money. I wasn't paid to do this, as always. Just if it'd be greatly appreciated to like it, because liking gets me into that algorithm that gets my videos up front. And subscribe, of course, just shows me that you appreciate what I do. And I'm trying very hard. I get it. I am not an AAA, what I like to call the AAA guys like Paul Grogan and John Gets Games and Rodney Smith and the One Stop Co-op and Jeremy Howard from Meeple Mountain. But I do what I do. And I serve my community here in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. So without any further things to do, I'm out of here.